If you're a green card holder thinking about international travel, this administration is making it way more dangerous than you realize. From sudden travel bans to airport interrogations to pressuring you to give up your green card, what was once routine when traveling can now put you at serious risk. I'm Zaira Solano, founder of Solano Immigration Law Firm. In today's video, I'll be telling you how to protect yourself before you step onto an airplane, before you leave the United States. The first risk is travel bans and executive orders. During Trump's first administration, we saw a vast travel ban that affected many countries, including green card holders, from entering the United States. Under the current 2025 Trump administration, there's already been significant discussion about reinstating that old travel ban and expanding it to include additional countries. Currently, there's a proposal for 43 countries that'll be affected by the travel ban. My tip to you is to always check for travel restrictions before you fly. And specifically, you want to look at if there is a travel ban and if your country is listed on there. Even if there isn't a travel ban, but your country is on a proposed travel ban, you need to talk to an immigration attorney before you travel outside the United States. The second risk is CBP scrutiny and secondary inspections. Lawful permanent residents, those of you with a green card, don't just get to travel into the United States without being inspected. A Homeland Security officer needs to determine that you are admissible upon entry into the United States. That means that under the law, you qualify to keep your green card and for the government to let you into the United States. During the 2025 Trump administration, we've seen a significant increase in secondary inspection, especially those that are from certain countries, certain regions in the world, and those who have been outside the United States with extended absences. Secondary inspection is when you arrive at a port of entry and an officer asks you some basic questions. And instead of saying, "Welcome to America, come on in, we're allowing you to enter," they take you to another interviewing room where they ask you many more questions. My tip to you, if you're placed in secondary inspection, first of all, is to remain calm. Second of all, is to answer questions truthfully. And lastly, make sure that you carry documents proving that you actually live in the United States, whether that's lease, mortgage, any type of utility bills, or employment verification. The third risk, extended absences outside the United States. They could really put your green card at risk. Being a green card holder means that you have an established life in the United States and that this is your permanent residence. If you travel outside the United States for more than a 6-month period, and frequently, that may put your green card at risk because Homeland Security may consider that you're not in fact permanently residing in the United States and that you're not building a life here. If you plan to travel outside the United States for more than 1 year, I recommend that you apply for a re-entry permit so that you don't have any issues when it's time to return to the United States. Risk number 4, past criminal history. Any arrests, whether they resulted in a conviction or the case is still pending or perhaps it was dismissed, can lead to detention at the airport. And in some cases, depending on the conviction and finding of guilt in your criminal case, you may be placed in deportation proceedings. I recommend that you consult with an immigration attorney before traveling, especially if you have any prior criminal history. I can't say it enough. Let's talk about what happens at the airport. What happens when you're abroad and you're traveling to enter into the United States? Once you get off that plane, the first thing that you will go through is primary inspection. That's when you meet with an officer, generally at some type of window where you present your documents, your passport, your green card, and the officer will ask you standard questions. Most travelers are cleared at primary inspection, but in some cases, they may ask you questions or see something on your record that will lead them to what's called secondary inspection. Secondary inspection is when you undergo additional questioning, additional background checks, and you might be asked to provide proof that you're actually permanently residing in the United States. Other things that happen in secondary inspection, timing. It usually takes several hours to get through that process. The officers may also search your electronic devices, such as your phone, tablets, laptops. And in some cases, we've heard of officers pressuring lawful permanent residents to relinquish their green card by signing Form I-407. My number one tip, if an officer is pressuring you to give up your green card, and sign Form I-407 is very simple. Do not sign it without consulting an immigration attorney. You have the right to an immigration hearing with an immigration judge if the government plans to revoke your green card. Do not voluntarily give it up. If you are living in the United States, want to eventually apply for citizenship, and have no reason to give up your green card. A few examples of real-time 2025 Trump administration tactics to pressure people to give up their green cards. One that we saw was an elderly Indian green card holder who was returning from a long trip abroad, was pressured into signing this form and giving up their green card. They were pressured in a way that the person thought that they were going to be detained, sent to a jail, and they preferred to just give up their green card than to go through that experience. Another one was a viral TikTok video of a green card holder from Laos who was detained in LAX, in Los Angeles. They were illegally and incorrectly told that because they had a green card for less than 2 years, that they were not able to enter the United States, that they didn't have a right to be here. And that person was pressured into signing a form. And the last one was a Palestinian green card holder who was arrested during a citizenship interview. And this arrest was not for fraud. It was because this person was targeted due to their political activism. So as we're discussing this, just know that routine travel, what used to be very easy for lawful permanent residents before the 2025 Trump administration, is no longer that easy. And there is a strict enforcement of the laws. There's a lot of questioning and changes in policy. Let's also talk about how you can protect yourself before, during, and after your travel. Before you leave the United States, ensure that your green card and your passport are valid. You want to make sure that they're not expired and that they're not expiring within the next 6 months. If you plan to travel outside the United States for more than a year period, apply for a re-entry permit before you leave. It's recommended that you apply at least 180 days before your departure. Consult an immigration attorney if you have any prior criminal history, any other type of negative immigration history that could affect your entry back into the United States. You could also prepare a travel folder with proof of residence in the United States, things that show that you live here, that you're establishing a permanent life in the U.S., such as bills, lease, employment records, tax records. Lastly, a re-entry permit if you need it for traveling more than 1 year outside the United States. During travel, carry your green card and passport at all times, and make sure that you also have some documents to show your ties to the United States in the event that while you're outside the U.S., you may have to attend an appointment or handle an issue with the U.S. Embassy. Be prepared for questions about your trip and about your green card status. Typically, officers will ask, where were you? How long were you outside the United States? Were you traveling for work or for leisure? Or what was your purpose of travel? What items are you bringing back with you? Those are things that you should be able to easily answer without stuttering and without hesitation. Now that you're back in the United States, if you're subject to secondary inspection, make sure you remain calm and you answer questions truthfully. If you're pressured to sign anything, like Form I-407, relinquishing and giving up your green card, do not sign it. You have the right to assert a hearing before an immigration judge and the right to refuse signing that document. Contact a trusted immigration attorney with all of your questions and concerns before you travel. 5 key takeaways to protect yourself when traveling outside the United States. Number 1, limit your international travel to less than 6 months when possible. Number 2, maintain current U.S. address, tax filings, and documentation to show that you permanently reside in the United States. Number 3, avoid traveling if you have unresolved criminal or immigration issues. Number 4, be aware of the rights that you have at any port of entry when coming back to the United States. And number 5, keep your immigration attorney's contact information accessible and ready in your mobile device. And my very last tip, if you qualify for citizenship, go ahead and apply. Become a U.S. citizen because traveling becomes significantly easier. You don't go through the same re-entry process as lawful permanent resident green card holders and other non-citizens, and you have a lot more freedom. We just covered how to stay safe when traveling as a green card holder. But how can you protect your green card under the Trump administration? Check out this next video where I break down how to protect your green card in 2025. And as always, if you or a loved one are facing an immigration issue, don't hesitate to call or text the number on the screen. You can also click the link on the description. We handle immigration issues experienced by lawful permanent resident green card holders located anywhere, anytime.